The day I came back inside and found my late wife's photographs missing, I felt my whole world stop. My daughter-in-law smiled and said, "They look too old for the house, so I threw them away." I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I quietly picked up one broken picture frame from the trash, held it against my chest, and walked out the front door. She thought she had thrown away a few old photos. She had no idea that 1 week later, a single letter would arrive in her mailbox and leave her crying harder than I had in years. If you enjoy emotional stories with unforgettable twists, subscribe to Revenge by Him. This story will stay with you until the very end. Before we continue, I want to mention that the pictures and scenes you see throughout this video are creative visual illustrations created to help bring this fictional story to life and help you imagine every moment. My name is George. I'm 71 years old. My wife, Helen, and I were married for 46 wonderful years before cancer took her away. After she passed, photographs became more than decorations. They were conversations I could no longer have. Every morning, I would look at her smiling face before making coffee. Every evening, I would quietly tell her about my day. Those pictures reminded me that although she was gone, the life we built together was still real. My son, Ethan, invited me to stay with him and his wife, Rachel, after Helen passed away. I believed we could heal together as a family. For a while, everything seemed peaceful. Rachel was polite, but I often noticed she liked everything modern and spotless. She once joked that my old photo albums belonged in a museum. I laughed with her because I didn't want small differences to become family problems. Looking back now, I realize I should have paid closer attention to those little comments, because they were warning signs of something much bigger. That afternoon, I spent a few hours working in the backyard, trimming the old hedges my wife had planted years before. When I finally came back inside, something immediately felt wrong. The hallway looked strangely empty. I walked into the living room and froze. Every framed picture of Helen had disappeared from the shelves and walls. For a second, I thought Ethan had moved them somewhere safe. Then Rachel walked in carrying a trash bag and casually said, "I cleaned the place up." Those old pictures made the house feel depressing. I rushed to the garbage bin outside. My hands were shaking as I searched through it. Broken glass covered the bottom of the bag. Bent picture frames were mixed with coffee grounds and food wrappers. I carefully lifted one cracked frame that still held a photograph of Helen smiling on the beach during our 25th anniversary trip. The glass had shattered across her face. My chest tightened so much I could barely breathe. Rachel stood behind me and quietly said, "They're only pictures. You need to move on." Those words hurt more than I can ever explain. She didn't just throw away photographs. She threw away pieces of my life. I looked toward Ethan, hoping he would defend the memories of the mother who raised him. Instead, he stayed silent, trapped between his wife and his father. I realized arguing wouldn't bring those memories back. Without saying another word, I picked up the broken frame, carried it to my room, packed one small suitcase, and quietly left the house before sunset. As I drove away, I reached into the glove compartment and removed an envelope my wife had asked me never to open unless the family forgot what love and respect truly meant. I stared at her handwriting for a long time before deciding it was finally time for someone else to read it. For the next few days, I stayed in a small lakeside motel, carrying that broken picture frame everywhere I went. Every time I looked at Helen's smiling face behind the cracked glass, I remembered the promise I made to her. She had always believed kindness could heal almost anything, but she also believed people needed to face the truth when they forgot compassion. On the 7th morning, I placed her sealed envelope inside another package and mailed it to Rachel. I didn't include a note. I simply wrote her name on the front and walked away. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was Ethan, but he could barely speak. His voice kept breaking. "Dad, Rachel just opened Mom's letter." I closed my eyes and quietly listened. Inside the envelope was a handwritten message Helen had written during her final months. She never blamed anyone or spoke with anger. Instead, she wrote about gratitude, family, and how photographs were never pieces of paper. They were pieces of people's hearts. Near the end, she had written one sentence that changed everything. "If you're reading this after throwing away my pictures, please remember, one day someone may hold the last photograph they have of you." Ethan told me Rachel had been crying for almost an hour. She had gathered every damaged frame she could find from the garage, trying to clean the broken glass with trembling hands. Hearing that didn't make me happy. Revenge had never been my goal. I only wanted someone to understand the pain hidden inside what they believed was a simple cleaning project. For the first time since Helen passed away, I felt she had spoken to our family one last time, and her words had finally been heard. The following afternoon, Ethan drove Rachel to the small motel where I was staying. She stepped out of the car holding the same broken picture frame I had carried away that day. Before she could say a word, tears filled her eyes. "George," she whispered, "I thought I was cleaning a house. I never realized I was throwing away someone's memories." I looked at the frame in her hands and thought about Helen. She always believed people could change when they truly understood the pain they had caused. Rachel handed me a small box. Inside were every photograph she had managed to recover, each one carefully cleaned and placed into new frames. Some pictures were damaged forever, but she had spent days searching through trash bags and storage bins because she wanted to make things right. That effort meant more to me than perfect photographs ever could. I hugged my son, then Rachel, and for the first time in a long while, our family cried together instead of apart. Before we finish, I want to mention that every picture and scene you've seen in this video is a creative visual illustration created to help bring this fictional story to life and help you imagine each emotional moment. That experience taught all of us something we'll never forget. Memories don't become worthless because they grow old. Sometimes they're the only bridge connecting us to the people we loved most. Never judge another person's treasures by their appearance, because what looks ordinary to you may be priceless to someone else. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments which family memory you would protect forever. Share this video with someone who still keeps old photographs close to their heart. And if you enjoy emotional stories filled with powerful lessons and unforgettable endings, subscribe to Revenge by Him. Until next time, remember this: respect someone's memories today, because one day your memories will be all that's left of you.